Hi, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is time for Coffee Talk. I am Jill Allen, the owner of Jill Allen and Associates, an orthodontic consulting company that specializes in startup doctors and orthodontists who've been in a practice 8 years or less. And today we're going to be doing a coffee talk on the subject of leveraging your virtual consults. And I know virtual consults have been something that has been kind of a buzzword since COVID hit, and everybody is talking about it. Some people are doing it, and others are kind of sitting back and waiting to see what's going to happen. And I thought, this was a really good topic for our coffee talk this week. I was actually talking to one of my clients, Dr. James Donaghy, out in Alabama, and we were talking about how can we manage the summer rush and just kind of the craziness of how our schedules feel and what we are doing, and just trying to manage just the requirements of what we need to do for COVID. We've kind of come out of our triage and being able to see patients, and now we're just trying to get all of our summer rush patients in and prepare for what's going to happen this fall. And we were, kind of just talking and brainstorming through, what's the best way to use the technology that we have in the office, or the technology that we have begun to embrace in our office. And the topic of virtual consults came up, and I thought, this will be great. Let's talk about that on Coffee Talk. So when you think about using virtual consults, one of the things that I want you to really think about, this is a tool in our orthodontic treatment coordinator toolbox. So when we look at our summer and we look at just the craziness of what it would normally be, we have all these patients that want to get in before their vacations, before school starts, after their vacations. There's just not enough time in our workday. And then when you look at what has happened maybe with our COVID schedule and the extra time that we are having to put into our office to see all of our patients, it just gets a little bit crazy. And so what I'm encouraging doctors to think about and teams to think about is, how can we leverage utilizing a new tool that may be new to your office, but that virtual consult. And I think now is the time to really think about, do I need a different scheduling code for my virtual consults? Goal in a virtual consult is to just have a great way to meet your patients, to get to know them, to get to know what their needs are, and hopefully to screen them to see if they actually need to come into your practice. So if you've got patients that are calling in, I think just one little scripting change. Maybe you're asking the patients how they'd like to meet the doctor. And I got this great tip from Tracy Martin, and I thought it's just such a great scripting tool that she uses. And I thought, I think every practice should be using this. How would you like to meet the doctor? Would you like to meet them in person, or would you like to meet them virtually? And I think if we can just sprinkle that in, and then we've got a plan for if they say they want to meet you virtually. So how do we do that? I hope by now, if you are using virtual consults, you have reached out to some of the companies that have figured out for you how to do a really good virtual consult. There's, Rhinogram and Smile Snap and, just so many other companies out there that are really dialing it in to help you be successful in this realm. But along with being able to have a good virtual consult and a good meet and greet with your patients, what we also want to do is make sure that you know how to schedule that properly in your schedule. And doctors, what I want you to think about is, there's only so much time in your physical day to see the patients that are in front of you. But what about the times when you are not in front of your patients? So maybe you're running a 4-day work week, and on Fridays, maybe that's your catch-up day. And maybe you could say, I could dedicate 2 to 3 hours a week just to schedule all of my virtual consults. So maybe you and your treatment coordinator come in, you set this schedule up, and it allows you to get through that backlog or that pinch that you start to feel at this time of the year when I've got all these new patients that need to come in and I don't know where to put them and I'm afraid they're going to go out to my competition. So I want you thinking about that. So the first thing is utilizing the new tools in your toolbox, which should be some virtual consults, maybe changing some of the verbiage that your front office is asking in how a patient wants to meet you. And then thirdly, thinking about, do I need to come up with different schedule codes? So I would usually say a virtual consult should be no more than 30 minutes versus maybe an hour in your schedule. And where can you put that outside of your traditional template to help you see more patients but not feel that pressure or that pinch from them? From there, the next thing that you have to think about is you see all these new patients. Now, how do we get them in for the start? Because that's what it's about, right? It's about new patients and starts. Busy days are just busy days unless we've got a start or a new patient on it. So the other thing that you need to really be thinking about is where can we put our starts? What do we need to do? Do we need to open up a production day where all that we're doing is putting new patients in? Do you need to make a start column that's just for this summer going into the fall that you're dedicating an employee to just help you get those starts in and your treatment coordinator has a place to put them? Again, it is about starts in the door, butts in the chair, production on your books. That's what I always say to my clients. I hope you remember that. So I hope you've learned something about how you might be able to leverage virtual consults. And the last thing I just want to bring up is they're not going away. We don't know what COVID has in store for us this fall, but I think if you are an office that has been sitting back and waiting to see what's going to happen and waiting to see if this is a technology you want to put into your practice, I would highly encourage you to start really looking into this because there are a lot of benefits beyond seeing new patients. It allows you to get all of your non-productive retainer checks out of the office. You can see all your retainer checks in a virtual realm. You can see all of your observation patients. Again, imagine taking a whole observation column out of your schedule, putting it virtually, and now opening up even more room for in-person consults. So think outside the box, look into leveraging and using virtual consults, and just enjoy the ride. It's stressful, it's hard, but this is a fun industry, and we are there to make people smile. So again, thank you for joining me today on Coffee Talk. It's been fun. Next week, we're going to be talking about the importance of your Google business page. And this came in from the internet. Somebody had asked a question about that. And just, how important is it to really have the reviews and to really have an updated business page? And so I thought, we're going to dive into that a little bit because now more than ever, where are patients finding you? They're finding you on the internet, and you want to have up-to-date social media. So we're going to be diving into that next week. Again, thank you so much. Jill Allen here from Jill Allen and Associates. And don't forget, we do a la carte, we do all inclusive. We are here to help you. Have a great day.